When you have a front row seat to nature, it changes how you see. Those moments with these house finches didn't stay outside. They followed me into my studio, into my hands, and into the work. When nature lets you watch closely, the art you make carries its imprint. Hi there! If you're new here, I'm Clara Nartey. I'm a full-time textile artist. Welcome! In this video, I'm going to share with you the first piece that I have completed in the year. So you want to stick around to the end so you see it. But if you're new here, I need to catch you up. In my last two videos, I shared how I got stuck on working on this piece and the steps that I'm taking to revive the piece. In this video, I'm going to show you how I finished the piece. But before we get to that, I need to take you back to the inspiration that got it all started. So come along with me. At the start of spring, I noticed a nest. It was tucked into an evergreen spruce in my yard. Inside were 6 tiny eggs, bluish, greenish colored. I didn't know then that those eggs would take over my whole season, or that they would quietly follow me into my studio. I had just started a new piece of work. While my hands were busy, my mind kept drifting back outside to the nest. I tried to film the birds. I failed a lot. Every movement scared them off, so I slowed down. I set up a tripod. Sometimes for hours, I would have my phone recording. I learned to wait. I started reading about birds. Back in the studio, the birds followed me again. Not literally, but emotionally. I added bird symbols to the jewelry of the figure I was making. Small marks, quiet decisions, something little to mark the moments. The work kept growing slowly alongside the nest. Outside, life kept moving. I used my iPhone to identify the birds in my yard. They were house finches. Now they had a name. But now, currently in the studio, this is what's actually happening. I'm editing videos. Is doing something very similar in this video. It's been more than 4 hours since I started editing the videos and I'm not yet done. So I'm going to go take a break and I'll come back and continue. I watched the male feed the female while she incubated the eggs. Tender, repetitive. In the studio, my work stalled. I thought it was finished, but it wasn't. Something felt unresolved, so the piece stayed on my design wall. Longer than I would like to admit. Then the idea returned again, not loudly, but just so clearly. And I began again. I embroidered new elements using new materials, water-soluble fabric. The eggs hatched, 3 at first, then 3 more. Still, the parents kept going. They fed the remaining chicks. They guarded the nest. So, final revelation. I'm so excited. When I started to stitch this, I thought that it was not good. I said it was okay, not great. But now that I see it's dry, it looks amazing. It is awesome. This is the first time I have created something like this. And whew, can I say that I am pleased? I am pleased with how it turned out. And oh my gosh, it is like a standalone embroidery patch that you can put on anything. I am just so excited. And it fits exactly onto the sketch that I had used to create it. So when you look at the sketch and you look at the embroidery, it just matches. And this is just so exciting, which means to me that I can draw any sketch and create it in threads like this using embroidery, which is mind-blowing. It's just exciting for me. So exciting. The possibilities that I can think of are just endless. And this is exactly what I was looking for, because I wanted the birds not to cover the artwork. I wanted to create some layers of transparency so that you can see what's underneath it. And it's doing just that. So I am so excited about this. I watched the chicks stand for the first time. Unsteady, fragile. But one didn't survive. I counted again and again and again, hoping I was wrong, but I wasn't. It hurt more than I expected. I didn't know why. It just did. Spring ended. The birds grew, and one day they left. The nest was empty. I watched it anyway. Days passed, then weeks, then months. No one came back. So I embroidered the birds, forms that carried weight and memory of a spring just passed. In my previous videos, I showed that process. Now it is time to finish. This piece cannot be rushed. It doesn't want to be rushed. It's taking its time to do its thing. And I'm letting it. Just going with the flow, working at the pace that makes sense for the piece to be able to develop. So I'm just going with the flow. I broke a needle again. After the embroidery is done on the water soluble fabric, the embroidery becomes harder, and so it's more difficult for the sewing machine needle to go through it. So I've broken a couple of needles just stitching the birds onto the surface of the artwork. Here, although I am dressed and ready to go to the opening of my friend's solo exhibition, I sneak into my studio to get a few hours of work in before I leave. I'm loving the way the birds are looking right now. They're looking so great. They're looking so good on the work. The way you can see underneath it, it looks so great. Actually looks like a different material. It doesn't even look like thread. It looks like a different material. Love it. And after the exhibition, guess what? I snuck right back in to get some more work done. and ta-da! Watching the finches taught me something simple and hard to ignore. They chose where to live. They chose safety, access, support. They built intentionally. They protected what they had built. And when loss happened, they stayed within that space. They got support in that same space. We have that choice too. We don't have to accept every place we land. We can create spaces that support us, spaces where we can grow, and spaces where we can grieve when something breaks. The finches showed me that safety and joy can exist together, that community is built, not stumbled into. That's what this piece holds. It's about choosing where and how we gather, who we let close, and how we care for one another when things don't go as planned. This work is called Circle of Delight. A circle of delight is a community that is intentionally built, where you find joy, friendship, and support. Thank you for spending time with me in my studio today. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to my channel. And please invite your friends to come watch my videos too. Until next time, create something beautiful and share it with the world. I'll see you next week.